Cuba is in the midst of a full-blown energy crisis, suffering from hours-long power blackouts and fuel shortages. Leaders are laying the blame, at least partially, at the feet of President Donald Trump's oil blockade. NBC's George Solis is in Cuba with more.
Work to restore power in Cuba continues today. It's going to be a gradual process, officials warn. They have to make sure that they do this very carefully or risk having the system collapse once again. They are still working to determine what caused this blackout. We spent some time on the streets of Havana yesterday, initially stopping by one neighborhood where a number of gentlemen were simply outside of their home helping another, making sure that he had everything he needed during this blackout, holding a flashlight in hand. Once the sun set, we stopped by another neighborhood and spoke with one family, Yesabel Garcia's family, who was in the dark, lighting her living room with a bike light and cell phones, telling me she has had to learn to adapt to this new reality, making sure that she has enough food to survive just the day, because they cannot risk buying food every single day and risk having it spoil in the fridge. She said it's been very difficult for her family and so many others in these communities. She certainly looks after her own and her neighbors, saying they can rely on even something as simple as a cup of sugar to get through these hard times. They are, of course, hopeful and praying that conditions begin to improve, especially as there are these renewed conversations about possible partnerships between the U.S. and Cuba. Of course, many have that cautious optimism and await to see what will further happen as President Trump continues his discourse about his relationship with Cuba and possible next moves here. But again, we are seeing one of the most significant blackouts here on the island that we have seen in the last several months, and it could be several days before people get the power back on. For those that are lucky enough to have generators, they may be able to weather this crisis. Today, the weather looking a little bit rainy, but with that sun beating down, it is certainly a crisis that could grow a lot more dire in the coming days.